Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan James. I'm a mindset coach that loves to focus on relationships. Before we get into today's video, remember that life is not happening to you, but happening through you. When you become the change you seek to experience, you're going to experience that change everywhere you go, and you are showing the world how to treat you based on how you're showing up, the identity you're in, the value and meaning that you're placing on the things around you, how you're behaving, and ultimately how you're responding to life. Which brings us into today's topic. We're going to be talking about how you gain power over circumstances when you gain power over how you react to circumstances. And I'm going to talk about this from the tool perspective of using mindset work and nervous system regulation and how that relates to showing up in new ways, generating new automatic responses, and really taking full control of your life and being able to take potentially undesirable circumstances and respond in ways that create solutions, but also illuminate things and give you different perspectives about whether or not proceeding forward with something is actually healthy for you, or something you want to do. Additionally, I'm going to talk about the importance of privacy and how having strong boundaries and good beliefs around boundaries creates an air of mystery to you. And now, not everybody needs to have access to you in your personal life, and how that plays out in your benefit for so many different ways. So, the first topic, again, we're going to talk about you really come into a place of power when you realize that in order to change circumstances, it all comes down to how you respond. Now, I've said in tons of videos in the past that when you are in circumstances, the immediate way you want to react is going to show you exactly where you are within your belief system. We got a little tea here today. And what I meant by that is when we experience something, again, we're experiencing it from our own subjective viewpoint, our own perception based off of the identity that we're within. So, what is going on in front of us, we really hold the power in regards to the meaning and value we place on it. How we perceive it is going to drive how we respond to it. How we respond to it is going to drive a multitude of different experiences, right? Because different responses, different reactions are going to lead to different outcomes. And this is not about being delusional or ignoring what's going on in front of you, but rather realizing there is an immense amount of power in how you're perceiving and responding to things. And oftentimes, a lot of the times, you will come to realize as you do belief work, most things don't need a reaction or response, because that is the response in and of itself. Somebody that holds certain beliefs regarding, again, depending upon the circumstance, if they hold beliefs regarding self respect, their worth and value, commitment, it may be below them to respond at all, because not responding sets the example that they already know that they deserve whatever treatment it is that they want, right? But let me expand on that. Again, we want to first look at how can I get into a version of myself where how I'm automatically showing up, I'm able to respond in ways that create solutions. At first, this may be a bit more conscious, but this is where things like nervous system regulation and belief work are really important. If you can cultivate a consistent routine of regulating yourself and adopting healthy beliefs, you're going to create this new way of operating, this new perception that you're viewing life from. So let me give an example here of how, when you are in circumstances and you've taken the time to adjust yourself, you're going to be able to respond in new ways that create different experiences. So let's say you're somebody that historically really struggled with relationships. Again, this can extend to any area of your life, but really struggled with relationships, or really struggled with commitment, and maybe patterns of like ghosting. Okay. I'm going to go just at the example of commitment. So you are hearing this video, you're realizing, okay, how I respond plays a huge role in the experiences I create for myself. So I'm showing people how to treat me based off of what I believe, how I'm showing up, and what I'm mentally entertaining. So let's say I begin to understand that, and I really do the nervous system regulation work, and I really start to meditate and adopt new beliefs around normalizing commitment, normalizing consistency, seeing myself as somebody that gets a loving, consistent, healthy relationship. So I'm cultivating these practices, and then I'm going out into life, and maybe I'm met with a circumstance where somebody becomes a little bit inconsistent, or they tell me they're not ready for a relationship in this moment. Prior to the belief work, okay, so prior to doing anything that I just described, if that was a dominant past experience for you, it would probably be typical to give this a reaction. What happened? What went wrong? Whether you're saying that to the person directly or to friends, to whatever your support group is, it typically would get a very large emotional reaction from you. Because again, in that instance, the circumstance would be confirming the beliefs that you hold, right? So you would be reacting to it, feeling victim to the circumstance at play, which again, in some cases, you are a rightful victim, okay? When something negative happens to you, when somebody delivers you bad news, when you are going through something that is potentially emotionally turbulent, it can be very rightful to feel victimized by what's going on. But there's a key difference between things going on and seeing it as potentially hurtful or it is hurtful and processing those emotions, but not internalizing it and responding accordingly versus circumstances are going on, it's triggering you, it's serving as evidence to the beliefs that you hold, and it's generating a huge emotional reaction that continues to perpetuate these similar experiences and patterns in your life. Okay? So, again, you could say historically, before any belief work, before any nervous system regulation, these types of experiences would get huge reactions from you. Now you've cultivated this routine of consistently practicing nervous system regulation and doing the belief work. And again, you go out into the world, and let's say somebody says to you, "Hey, I'm not ready for a relationship at this moment." In that, now that you have cultivated the nervous system regulation, one, your body is going to be a lot more regulated in the face of this circumstance. So it's not going to get a huge reaction out of you. But two, you're going to be operating from a belief system that says independently, commitment is a normal thing for me. Consistency is a normal thing for me. It is normal for the right man or the right woman to commit to me, to love me, to be consistent with me. So when a specific person or circumstance shows up trying to present the opposite, instead of it triggering you and serving as evidence to the experience you're going to have in life, you're you're able to pretty much laugh it off and be like, "Okay, I don't need you to specifically commit to me to know that I get commitment in my life." Now, here's the thing. When you do not give emotional reactions to people or experiences outside of you, this is very conflicting for other people, okay, or those circumstances. When you are able to go into that I don't give a fuck energy because I'm the one defining myself, I validate myself, I decide what I get in my life, and you don't give anything an emotional reaction, you're going to find that circumstances change in your favor. Let's think about this from just a psychological perspective. You are showing the world how to treat you, right? So when I show up, how I'm responding and how I'm handling situations is setting an example. If you come to me and you say, "Dylan, you're never going to succeed in life, you're never going to be happy, you are not beautiful," whatever it may be, again, if I am grounded in my own identity, I don't need you to tell me who I am, who I can be, or what I'm going to create in my life to create those things. So that feedback is going to bounce off of me. And because I make it nothing, I'm going to set that example that is, no, actually, I am those things. I am, and you're going to watch me now. Okay. So in the specific instance, though, of commitment, when you are just non reactionary, okay, no worries. You don't want commitment right now. All good. I'll go entertain other people. Live your life. You're going to find that most people and most circumstances turn around because now you're setting an example of one, self respect, but two, that you know commitment. You've decided in your mind that commitment, success, whatever it is a normal thing for you. You don't need to advocate for yourself. You don't need to fight for it. You don't need to chase after it. You are already within you're already within an identity that is congruent with that experience, but not dependent on specific people, places, or things to tell you that you can have it. This is very powerful because again, you're showing the world how to treat you based off of how you're showing up. It has to be genuine embodiment. And again, you will find when you can actually implement this, you're going to be able to consistently set an example. You will watch people backtrack. You will watch them switch up. You will see people completely turn around their opinions on you, whatever it may be, when you do not give things an emotional reaction, when you become neutral and you move forward because you have already defined who you are and how certain things show up in your life. You'll get apologies, you'll get sorries, you'll get people, again, showing up trying to get your attention, get your time, your effort back. And it's up to you to decide who and what you're willing to persist through. This is why I said at the beginning, when you do this, when you understand how you respond, that is how you gain control over circumstances. How you respond is how you get control over them. You're also going to be able to discern what you actually want. Because it may become very conflicting when you see somebody try to reject you, and then when you don't react to it and you don't respond to it, they turn around and they say, "Oh, you know what? Actually, I do want a relationship." Okay, well, you already tried to tell me that you didn't, so what? Now that I'm not chasing you, now that I'm not desperate for you, now that I am not spiraling and reacting to this, now you want to give me a chance? Like, is that somebody I actually want to be with? You will get a level of discernment over people and circumstances to see, is this actually something that I want? Now that I haven't given into this, now that I didn't react to this, now that they didn't get any sort of emotional energy from me, they are changing their minds. Is this something I actually want? Or do I deserve to be with people and in environments that inherently respect me, commit to me, and treat me properly in the ways I know I deserve? This is also really beneficial too, because that what I'm saying here is you're no longer internalizing what people try to project onto you. You don't get to define who I am or the experiences I get to have in life. You don't get the blessing of my emotional energy or attention when you try and mess with me. So maybe you get away with that with other people. Maybe your ego enjoys that with other people. Maybe you like seeing people chase after you. And because I'm not, now your ego's feeling a little bit under attack and you want to backtrack, but I'm not the one to play with. So, okay, you tried it, you lost. It is what it is. You can keep trying, you can chase after me, but just know you're never going to define who I am or what I get out of my life. That is where you gain an immense amount of power over circumstances, is realizing how you respond is what is creating. And everything that I'm talking about here, even when you take it out of manifestation context, you have to see why this is attractive because it is the embodiment of self respect, self love, knowing your worth and value, defining yourself, having healthy self esteem, confidence, a well rounded person that is regulated, mature, and isn't playing into games. That is highly attractive. That is another reason why you're going to see people just absolutely floored when you don't give them emotional reactions. Now, in some instances, if people do things that are really shady and messed up, yeah, there may be certain instances where giving a response is appropriate because you're holding people accountable. But in most instances, you do not need to fight for somebody. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to chase after somebody when you can just give things no emotional reaction and let people go. Okay, you don't want this, whatever. I really didn't need you. I liked you. It's okay. I will find somebody else. I already know that commitment is a normal thing for me. You will just see people absolutely floor. Okay? So please listen to me on that. If you've never experienced this, test it out. You will be shocked at how quickly people change their positions. And again, that relates to doing that consistent nervous system regulation and doing those meditations so that when you're in circumstances, you have already cultivated a regulated nervous system and body and a belief system that safeguards you, that doesn't allow for you to internalize or immediately react to what's going on in front of you because you don't identify with it. I don't identify as somebody that doesn't get genuine commitment. I don't identify as somebody that has to wait for somebody to choose me or love me or respect me properly. I don't identify as somebody that doesn't get success. I don't identify as somebody that is rejected. So you can try to reject me. I don't specifically need you, and I'm going to set the example that I always know who I am and what I'm capable of creating in my life. So, again, that comes though from doing that consistent routine of nervous system regulation and meditation to adopt those beliefs, to actually be able to embody that in the moment. If you find yourself doing belief work and nervous system regulation and you're still reacting sometimes or you're not able to catch it, don't beat yourself up. Everything is a learning process. So just sit back and assess. When I reacted to that, what did I really get? Was there a desirable outcome from that? Or does the version of me that holds these beliefs, how would they respond? Take everything as a learning lesson so that you don't get in your head and again beat yourself up. The last person you need to be tearing down is yourself. You need to be your own biggest cheerleader, right? So it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, but just realize again, really look back at situations in your life and see every time I gave something an emotional reaction, what did it really do? Nothing. It just messed me up mentally, was draining my energy, and played into dynamics that yielded nothing I actually wanted to experience. So, what occurs when I stop reacting? When I just, okay, no worries, goodbye, no reaction at all. Test it out, and you will be very happy with the experiences you have. Again, you're just going to have people floored, crashing out. It will be a circus show. But it'll be a lot more entertaining than you just reacting and getting mentally disturbed yourself. So that is how you take back your power when it comes to circumstances, is realizing, no, I'm not a victim to circumstances. I don't just have to sit here and let things happen to me. I am not being forcefully subjected to anything. I can remove myself. I don't identify with this. I don't agree with this. I'm the one creating my life. I don't have to give this a reaction. And I really don't give a fuck what you do in the meantime. In fact, you're just going to realize the mistake that you made. You'll reach out to me, apologize, backtrack. I don't need to sit here and wait for that though. That is how you want to be operating. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about today is privacy, because I know in my own personal experience that even when I go out into society, talking to random people, there is something going on where just in society in general, people struggle with boundaries and oversharing. And there is an immense amount of power around privacy. I know that you want to, people are asking questions, you want to share your life experience or what's going on in your life with people. But I think it's very important to be discerning and realize, again, from a self-concept perspective, your trust deserves to be earned and other people need to earn your trust. That you deserve to have quality people around you and that it is okay to be private. Not everybody needs to know everything. It is okay to have boundaries. It is okay to say no. So when you are going out into public, when you're meeting new people, this is just a side note to today's topic. I'm going to suggest that you start practicing privacy and really monitoring what you're sharing with people and whether or not people need to know the details that you're sharing. Because again, dynamics form over time. By the time we're in circumstances, usually quite a few things have occurred, and it's just very wise to be protective of your own personal life and your privacy because you never really know. Again, you're the one that you decide what occurs in your life, but when it comes to other people, you have to be discerning about their intentions with you. And if you are too trusting too quickly and you are not discerning properly, you may disclose information to people that someday they turn around and use against you. But aside even from that point, not everybody needs to know everything. Okay. You want to develop a healthy self esteem and belief system to trust your own discernment and decisions. So if you are going through things, yeah, you may have a solid support system of people you genuinely trust, but you want to be able to trust your own decisions more because you're the only person that has the full perspective on whatever it is that is going on. And typically, when people are oversharing, usually they're trying to get multiple perspectives. Then they get absolutely confused because there's conflicting opinions, people projecting their own beliefs into the circumstance. Just trust me when I say privacy is your best friend, and mystery and allure create more attraction and appeal, just like how less is more, right? So, you know, I think there are ways that we can embody being sexy and feeling confident within our body without it coming off as too much. Because when we do too much, we might appeal to certain crowds or audiences that we don't necessarily actually want to experience. And this coincides with privacy, right? It coincides with respecting yourself. All of these things are connected. So when we again find ourselves in circumstances, our power is in how we choose to respond, what we choose to share, how we present ourselves. If we can cultivate a healthy belief system of really defining who we are, upholding boundaries, realizing not everybody needs to know everything, people can earn our trust. We don't have to disclose everything, okay? You're going to be able to move through the world in such an attractive way that your mind's gonna be blown when you see the lengths that people go to please you. And you're gonna realize, wow, I never really had to try that hard. I just needed to focus on myself, build myself up, and really monitor what I was giving my time, energy, focus to, and what I was sharing. Because again, you're showing the world how to treat you. So if we are just openly sharing ourselves, making ourselves easily accessible, emotionally reacting to everything, we're not setting an example of stability or respect. We're setting an example of exactly what I said, easy access, right? Disrespect, lack of boundaries, inability to create stability within ourselves and how we're responding to things. So we want to set an example of stability, respect, privacy, people respecting our boundaries, and knowing that, again, we're creating our own life based off how we're showing up, how we're handling things. This becomes automatic with the belief work. So again, if it feels uncomfortable for you right now, if you're still finding yourself reacting to things, if you're finding yourself oversharing, don't beat yourself up, but just realize there's power in privacy and there's an immense amount of power in how you respond to things. So do yourself the favor to do the consistent nervous system regulation and the belief work so you can become that version of yourself or identify as that version of yourself right now that always handles situations in ways that create solutions, that upholds your own privacy, your self respect, and your boundaries. Let people put in that effort. That is what you want, and that is what you deserve. Let them earn your trust. And if they don't, goodbye. Thank you. Didn't need you anyways. All right? Okay, beautiful. I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful day, night time, wherever you are. Until next video, I will see you then. I don't know what I was going to say then. Until next video, I hope you're safe, happy, abundant in the world, and I will see you all later. Bye.